Hey guys, welcome to the video. I appreciate you guys joining in. I do want to give you a heads up is that this is my Kingdom Come Deliverance video and why I would want you to play the game, but I did accidentally not make sure that I'm recording the sound, so you're not going to hear the sound. But in that, I really think Kingdom Come Deliverance is a epic game. It starts off in the beginning with the prologue. I don't know if that's actually what it's called, but you essentially assume another character instead of Henry, the main dude, and fend off a ton of knights from a siege, which I thought was pretty sick, so I included it in here. I typically try to take out all the archers. You don't really necessarily have a goal in the beginning of the game, apart from when you get to the wall, but it's really sick. I like the combat in the game. I really like the medieval realistic setting instead of the medieval fantasy. I think that was really, really cool. It's just in my opinion, it's super epic. They got the fighting style, which is very similar to like For Honor, where it's like directional, but it just sinks in. I just like it. It's very realistic. The quality of it looks really, really good. I like how realistic the whole world is, and the characters bickering back and forth like they're good buddies and stuff like that is freaking awesome. I really enjoy this game. You see me pushing off a ladder here. I'm saying a lot, but I'll edit it out. Uh, really, really, really awesome game. I skip a lot of the stuff just because I want you to play the game, so I don't want you to actually see like a lot of the like conversations and like the story stuff and stuff along those lines. I'd rather just you buy the game and you see for yourself because it's awesome. I played 150 hours of this game. It's freaking awesome. Here you meet Mutt, my dog. I really like Mutt. You guys end up getting separated in the future, so that kind of sucks. But I'm petting a doggy right now. In the beginning of the game, you also have an opportunity to stash your money on your character in the beginning, which is really freaking sick. There's a chest over there in that cave that you're going to see me run through. You're not going to see me pick it up, but if you go back to this place, there's a bunch of bandits, and if you kill them and reach this chest, you can get some of your money back. Not all of it, but majority of the time it's a decent amount for the beginning of the game, which is pretty sick. I really like the combat. This is me fighting the guy that ends up attacking you when you're trying to get away. I'm not expanding upon that at all. I really like the combat and the way it feels like you can like just get him from different directions and kind of like outmaneuver him. It just feels really smooth and you feel really badass when you're kicking their butt, dude. It's pretty awesome. I really like it. I'm just messing him up, dude. He gets some of that. I really wish I recorded the game audio, but unfortunately, did not double check that. So he gets his butt kicked, but it activates a cinematic. It doesn't really matter if you lose. You seen I was kind of operating on 1 HP there. It doesn't matter if you lose or win. You still end up getting the same sequence. This is Mutt being a clutch doggy he is, just jumping on the dude's arm and ripping it off. It's freaking awesome. And Deliverance 1 has something to do with this game, so but you don't one of the cool things about it is you don't have to play that game first, but with all the skills that you got from Deliverance 1 get reset when you fall off that cliff cuz brain damage, which I think is a really cool aspect. I end up showing you just a couple of fights that I end up getting in just cuz I really really love the fights in the game. It is not easy. It takes a second to get used to. My recommendation is when you're doing like the trainings and stuff along those lines in the beginning, just really, really try to narrow it down. In that they're trying to forceful in the trainings, and meaning like they make you do like a certain sequence and stuff. The game kind of bugs out when the guys are trying to run away, but me personally, no mercy, bro. You try to attack me first, so to the afterlife with you. One of my favorite things about the game is going to be the alchemy. The alchemy is really, really freaking sick in comparison to other games. Majority of other games just have you select the ingredients and it auto crafts what you need as long as you have it. And this one, it makes you really pay attention to the whole process of making the potions, which I thought was super sick. So you can see me putting together one of these sleeping health potions. I originally thought this was a regular health potion, like when you're walking around in the world, you can heal. That is not the case. This one, when you take it, you heal faster when sleeping, which, in my opinion, apart from like maybe uber hard mode, that's pretty stupid. I don't need that. So, just the whole process of like boiling it with a timer and they have a tutorial for it essentially, and you just want to listen to what the lady says. But I really like how every step of the way you are doing it adds to the immersion of the game. I like at no points does it really feel like you're not Henry, you're not doing these things, which I think is freaking awesome. And then depending on how well you follow the instructions and how good you are at making the potions, you can get strong, weak, regular. You can even get to the point where Henry's so good at making potions that you get Henry named potion, which is pretty sick. In that, something I would like to give you as a heads up if you end up getting the game and playing it is that right next to my health bar, you see this like little purple health bar. That's actually for your enemies. It does not tell you that. So I'd rather give you a heads up on that too. But you can see us having a fist fight at a bar tavern that freaking Hans started because he's a twat. Uh, and it just feels so solid. It's very immersive. I really like the game, and I'm just whacking the heck out of that guy. And this guy wants some too, man. And there is like real consequences for the things that you do, unless you're just really good and can get away with them like I can. And I'll show you later in the video what I mean by that. But just the rocking back and forth every time you land a hit, and how they kind of tire out after a while. This is where Hans really messes up, because Hans a noble, so he carries himself a little higher. Henry is a bastard child from a noble, so he doesn't get the same treatment. But Hans just punched the police in the face, which never ends up good. And now we get stripped down to our skivvies, and now we're put on display, which in my opinion, is absolutely hilarious. And you have a hilarious exchange between Henry and Hans. And one of the cool things about it is that you really get to kind of immerse yourself in that. This is me showing you a potion that's actually a health potion and how to make it. So I'd recommend, as soon as you get into the game, finding some marigold and some nettle. You boil the nettle twice in water with 2 things of marigold in the mortar and pestle, and you get a health potion. And that's one that you can drink out of your pouch to actively regenerate health, which is pretty sick. But it doesn't really tell you that. You gotta have to discover that later in the game. And I'd rather just tell you off the bat, because it makes it so much easier to win fights when you can actually heal during them. It makes it a lot easier. But I like the whole process of just making stuff in this game, whether it be smithing or alchemy. It's really, really cool. I just like how immersive it is. I've done this kind of stuff for like 2 hours. I've done it so much that I know it takes a minute and a half to craft a weapon. We're getting finished up with the potion here, and you get to actually see that it says strong marigold potion because I'm a goat and I grinded the heck out of it. This game really, really buffs you if you sit there and kind of just like train one skill over and over again, because the max out for the skill is like 30, not like 100. One of my recommendations in the beginning of the game is go over to the miller. You're going to have 2 choices, the miller or the smithy. I recommend doing both, but start with the miller so you can grab that dagger. You can also train picklocking on that chest down to the right. I look at it there for a second. If you grab that dagger and head over to Namarkov Fortress, there's this guy standing out here by himself, and some decent gear actually. And in the beginning of the game, you unless you loot one of the guys, you get pretty bad loot. So you seem like a perfect timing when that green shield popped up on my screen. That's like a perfect timing because he's trying to keep me from assassinating him, and I don't want him to do that. Also, there's another potion called the Shave Your Snops, which allows you to save the game. But if you're a real OG in the game, which I am not, I just learned that while watching shorts, you can actually save and quit, and that also works as, just a save potion, so, which is pretty sick. Here I'm just showing you some of the crafting in the game, which I just really like how immersive and hands-on a lot of the crafting is in comparison to other games. And other games, it would probably be really annoying in comparison, because you just want to go mess up the world, but in this, I just like how immersive, and you kind of just get lost and become a freaking blacksmith for an hour, and then when you're done, you got a bunch of decent gear and as you do it, you upgrade your crafting skills, so it's easier to repair your stuff. When you repair your stuff, it lasts longer, stuff along those lines, which is pretty cool. Even being over encumbered in the game adds to Henry's strength over time, so you can carry more stuff, or you hit things stronger. If you shoot a bow and arrow in front of somebody, you increase your marksmanship as well as your agility and strength, because you're pulling a bowstring back over and over again, which is just really sick. one of the things I would tell you about blacksmithing is that you want to hit pretty much every spot on the surface twice, but you don't want to do it in a row. You want to kind of move around and then go back around. And in that, the way I imagine it is like you're stamping it and you're just trying to overlap the stamps when you go back through. And if you do that, you don't have to keep going back and forth between the forge and the anvil. You can just finish it up all in one go. The color of the weapon itself, or the horseshoe, or whatever you're crafting, actually has a part to play in it. The more heat it has, the easier it is to bend. The less heat it has, the longer it takes. And then you have to go back to the forge to reheat it up, which is realistic. I've seen people actually... I used to watch Forge and Fire, and that's essentially exactly what you have to do, is go back and forth and back and forth. But Henry's so skilled, he doesn't need to do that. As you go through the game, you get more stamina and stuff along those lines just by increasing your skills. So right now, it's like very beginning of the game. I haven't really done much, and I'm just trying to show everybody what I like to do in the game and what I find fun. So my guy barely has any stamina, so he keeps huffing and puffing every few seconds of me smacking the heck out of the axe there. I like making the axes because you don't have to keep going back like up and down a lot. You just go around like essentially what is like a circle, I guess, the way I see it. You stamp it 3 times in the middle, 3 times going down, and then you go back up, and it just makes a weapon. And in that, I just did it one time, but when you're learning it, they say, oh, just smack one side and then flip it over. Don't do that. Smack the one side twice and then flip it over and smack that side twice. It's easiest to be able to do it that way, so you craft stuff a lot faster. If you made it this far in the video, I really appreciate you, by the way. I know it doesn't have any sound, and you also can sharpen the weapon, because originally after you crafted, it doesn't have max sharpness. Also, razor sharp popped at the top right corner. That's one of the first skills I get for crafting, just because it increases the damage of the weapon as well as its durability. And then this is me after equipping the armor I got from the Barkov. Great way to be able to buff yourself before you start getting into a lot of fights. I'm not going to tell you why I specifically recommend killing that guy apart from him being by himself. The story will tell you why it's not the worst idea. Not the greatest, but not the worst. And in that, no one else is going to find him and you're not going to get in trouble for it. So that's why I like murking that guy. In the beginning, if you want to make money and you're not wanting to go around and be a bad guy and take people's lives, which is fair. I did that my first playthrough. My second, third, and fourth, yeah, no, I didn't really care. I was taking everybody's stuff. But in that, I really appreciate you guys making it this far in the video. Hopefully, I'm going to go back there and make sure this makes sense, but I appreciate you making it. I cannot hit this guy with the crossbow for nothing, but the crossbow is kind of broken, so I wanted to do something cool, but it definitely did not work out. Hopefully this video makes some sense and kind of gets you interested in Kingdom Come Deliverance, because I thought it was a freaking awesome game. Man, it's so freaking cool. Man, and then also you can get something called a Master Strike, which instead of blocking, you can attack against their attack, which just gives you like a cool execution sometimes, which is dope. Alright, I appreciate you guys making it this far in the video, and you guys have a great day. Bye.